Today on Monkey Life, Alison and Jeremy are in for a surprise when they go to the rescue of two capuchin monkeys.
The calls that I'm hearing coming from the house are marmosets. I don't think it's going to be capuchin monkeys.
Baby Owen gets more adventurous.
She's definitely inquisitive about everything.
And there's mayhem at the Bachelors when the chimps refuse to play with Gypsy. Monkey World in Dorset, set deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Nothing's ever straightforward on these.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes. Its aim is to give them as happy and natural a life as possible. It's an early start for Alison and animal manager Jeremy Keeling. They've had a call from the police in Merseyside who urgently need their help.
We're headed up north to Liverpool, where I believe, because we're never quite sure what we're going to find two capuchins in a small cage inside of a sitting room, along with, I think, a bulldog that's on site and potentially a raccoon in a shed. So, never really know what to expect, but as always, we'll try and pick up what pieces we can.
The British pet trade is a constant source of concern. The team is continually being asked to rehome unwanted or neglected monkeys. Many owners simply don't know how to look after them. This is going to be a tricky rescue. The police think there may be trouble.
It's in a little bit of a tense time and in a not so great area, as there's been a few incidents there. So there's going to be quite a group of police coming with us, I think, to make sure everything goes smoothly.
The rescue is being coordinated by Wirral Wildlife Officer Rachel Kruger.
What we've got is information's been received that there is 6 children at the address in a council house with 2 dangerous wild animals. These people don't have permission to have primates in the house.
If indeed they're full-grown capuchin monkeys, we're talking about a primate that's about 5.5 kilos maybe, and a male is well armed with big canine teeth. So if any of you were in the room and they got out and they looked aggressive, you want to stand back and let Jeremy and I handle it. It'll make it go a lot smoother for the monkeys.
I'm just hoping that we don't upset the children too much by taking away the family pets. But we've got to be conscious that they are dangerous wild animals and they do represent a risk to those children.
Follow the big carrier.
In the UK, it is legal to keep primates as pets, but unlike zoo-kept animals, there are few laws governing their standard of care. So many monkeys end up being kept in appalling conditions and suffer physically and mentally.
Yeah, they're all ready.
When Alison reaches the house, there's a surprise in store.
Marmosets. The calls that I'm hearing coming from the house are marmosets. So we'll see what's in there, but I don't think it's going to be capuchin monkeys.
It sounds like the team could have a problem. To keep capuchins, you need a dangerous wild animals license, but you don't with marmosets, which makes them more difficult to confiscate. On top of all that, the gear they've brought to handle and transport the animals is meant for capuchins.
Hey, sweetie. Yeah, they're common marmosets.
Obviously.
Who did you get them from?
I bought one in Birmingham and one up in Scotland.
Okay, and are they, like, friendly and they come out and hang out with you?
Yeah, they just sit on my shoulder.
Yeah.
What's your name, please? You're a girl.
Hey, sweeties. What are their names?
Clydie is Scottish, that's the girl.
Clyde?
And
Clydie.
Charlie.
Clydie and Charlie.
Is from Birmingham.
Okay.
The house is full of animals. Alison is not impressed.
It's a real problem having marmosets collared in a cage. They can hang themselves. It hasn't been cleaned in months, if not years.
Outside, they make another grim discovery.
Wow. There is a raccoon in the shed. It's got terrible matted fur, and it's living in so much filth and excrement. I haven't seen the like of something like this for a while. Poor little chap. If you stick your head in there, it's living in its own excrement. Its fur's matted, it's underweight. It's really not good. It's really very poor.
Alison is concerned about the health of all 3 animals.
The one's got pretty bad rickets.
I know, I've seen that, yeah. What do I get for that?
Well, it needs the right vitamin supplements. It's all down to nutrition. But I think what I would suggest to you is whether or not you consider signing them over. That would be my advice to you.
They cost me £4,000.
Feeding 4,000, you didn't pay 2,000. Sorry.
I paid one that on. 1,600 for one, 15 for the other.
Excuse me, but you were done then.
Well, I was done then, but that's what I exactly paid.
But feeding them biscuits.
I don't feed them biscuits. That's the kids.
But whatever, and it's not been cleaned and so on. Really,
it hasn't been cleaned because I do it all the time. I've got the steamer there.
But there are
steam.
animal welfare issues, so my advice to you just would be to sign them over so that you don't get grief. But
I'm not going to get grief. I'm going to clean them over.
It's very sad. I don't think he means them harm, but the animals aren't being kept appropriately, so they need to go.
But Alison has a tough job on her hands if she's going to persuade the owner to hand the monkeys over. Back at the park, the chimp team are preparing a surprise for the all-male group known as the Bachelors. Some of the boys do have a tendency to be a bit lazy, so the team are filling their enclosure with fun things to encourage them to get a bit more exercise. And, as chimps are largely governed by their stomachs, they're making sure there are plenty of treats too. When they first appear, the boys are unusually quiet. The higher-ranking members of the group quickly get their hands on the goodies, but there's none of the normal squabbling. In Buxom's case, it could be because he's stuffed his mouth full of pears. Paco, too, is keen to gobble down as much food as he can before the others notice. Leader Butch is one of the brighter chimps and soon realises the plastic balls may not look very appetising, but they're filled with tasty yoghurt. These more dominant chimps are only really interested in the food, which leaves the way clear for the others, led by Charlie, to have some fun. Seamus, who's not the cleverest, strikes lucky when he finds nuts in the barrel. But the others just want to cause mayhem. Troublemaker Gypsy wants Sammy to play, but he's more interested in finding the food than mucking around. He tries his luck with Jimmy, but that turns out to be a bad idea. So he goes back to annoy Sammy. Seamus thinks he's safe, but he's wrong. Gypsy is getting on everyone's nerves. Maybe Buxom and the higher rankers had the right idea after all. Back in Liverpool, the police have discovered the owner of the marmosets has broken his tenancy agreement by keeping the animals, so they can confiscate them after all, despite his protests. And Rocky the raccoon is going to be rehomed too.
Okay, just careful, you don't want to have him sick.
Jeremy resorts to bribery to entice him into his travelling crate.
Now, but it was all in the wrong manners. He actually went straight into the boat. Even the cameraman could have done that, it was so easy.
We put food in the box and he's very hungry.
He's troughing away.
He's already eaten a whole banana, an entire half a bag of grapes and a nectarine.
Here you go, Rocky. Come on, young man.
Jeremy is hoping Charlie and Clydie will be as accommodating as Rocky.
She's got the collar, you can just grab that.
The crate is large because it had been intended for a capuchin, so there's plenty of room for both Charlie and Clydie.
She's right in the door. Fun. So the pair are in together. We've got them fresh water. He's already eating banana, so I think he's quite pleased to be having some more regular food.
Marmosets have to be fed an appropriate diet and given vitamins to make sure they get all the nutrients they need.
What a day, you know? Just goes to show there can be anything living next door to you right now in this country. And it's just tragic because these animals needed saving and I want to get them health checked now. So back to the park ASAP.
It can get pretty hot at the park in the summer, so the staff sometimes give the residents ice lollies to help them cool down. And today, it's the turn of Gordon's group. There are 6 orangutans in this family. The youngest is baby Awan, who's now 18 months old and growing up fast. Orangutans learn everything from their mothers, and Awan's adoptive mum, Xiao Kuai, is a great teacher. The youngster has started exploring on her own, but Xiao Kuai is never far behind.
She's definitely inquisitive about everything. And I think she almost looks back at her mum and thinks, I'm just going to go a little bit further. Just, you know, so she pushes it. So she's definitely got some character there. If she takes after her mum, then she'll be a very dominant and well-rounded animal.
Not all the female orangutans at the park are maternal, but Xiao Kuai is a great mum. She already has 2 sons, but didn't hesitate to take Awan under her wing when her mother rejected her at birth.
She's always got her eye on her, so if any of the other females get too close that she's not too happy about, or if Gordon comes over, she's always got her eye on her and she will go down and get her if she feels that she's in any danger or she's a little bit worried. So she's a good mum. She's supportive, but she gives her enough independence so that she can do a little bit of her own thing.
Awan is lucky because she has several doting aunties in the group who love playing with her.
I think Xiao Kuai is enjoying having the interest from the other females towards Awan. It does give her a bit of downtime. She can maybe go off and relax while she's got some babysitters all around her.
In the wild, orangs stay with their mums for up to 7 years, but here at the park, they tend to get separated from them a little earlier. Xiao Kuai's younger son, Jin, is now 4 years old and quite independent. The orang team are beginning to think it may be time for him to move on.
We are considering moving Jin away from Xiao Kuai and actually away from Gordon. Naturally, males wouldn't be living together. They would be fighting over their females and their territory and would end in serious injuries. And we've seen a few warning signs where maybe Gordon's just getting a little bit intolerant of Jin, certainly when he's trying to mate his mum or he's showing any sexual interest in any of the females and Jin's getting in the way and, you know, accidents can happen. He's a big animal. So I think it may be time to consider moving him. It would be to the nursery as he's a young animal and he needs sort of young companionship and some other figures that we have over there. The nursery is a great place to be and I'm sure he'd absolutely love it.
But it will be a huge wrench to separate Jin from his mum, so the team will need to consider all the options before they make a decision. At the Stumpy House, the macaques are being their usual grumpy selves. These monkeys take life at a much slower pace than other residents at the park. But the team have come up with an idea to entice them outside. They found a rotten tree, so have decided to put it in their enclosure. In the wild, Stumpies spend most of their time foraging on the ground for seeds, fruits, and insects. This tree should be full of tasty grubs and so encourage natural behaviour. Phil is the first to spot the tree, but ugly monkeys, as they're affectionately known here, have a strict hierarchy, and he's at the bottom, so he keeps his distance. As does another low ranker, elderly Paddy. Which leaves the way clear for Sylvie and leader of the group Sam to get stuck in. Phil has now been joined by Jonathan, who's also low in the pecking order. It could be a while before they get their turn. Stumpies are surprisingly dexterous, so Noreen has no problem grabbing hold of tiny insects. Meanwhile, Miriam and Sylvie are using their big cheek pouches to stuff as much as possible into their mouths. They won't eat it all now. They use their pouches to store food for later. Sam has moved away to enjoy his stash and is soon followed by Miriam. But greedy Sylvie is still hard at it. She'll eat anything and doesn't seem to care that there'll be nothing left for the others. Paddy decides to give up. But Phil and Jonathan are ever hopeful and bide their time. Finally, Sylvie has had enough, leaving the tree free at last. Jonathan makes his move. But just at that moment, Charlie, who's the lowest ranking female but still higher than Jonathan, decides to take her turn. Fortunately, she seems more interested in the camera than the grubs. Which means Jonathan and Phil can nip in to pick up the scraps. It just goes to show perseverance pays off. Alison and Jeremy are nearing the end of their long drive back from Liverpool. The team that's expecting them at the park has just received the news that they're bringing back marmosets instead of capuchins. But that's caused a problem, and they've had to find some emergency accommodation for Charlie and Clydie.
We've had a brand new marmoset complex built especially kind of for this purpose. Unfortunately, that's completely full now. So at the moment, the only space that we have to put these two new arrivals is in this cage temporarily up here in our hospital.
Wait on him.
As with all newcomers, they're weighed straight away so their progress can be monitored.
They are only 700 grams between the two of them, so...
They're worryingly underweight. The team want the marmosets to spend the night in their specially prepared cages, but they're understandably unsettled.
There you go. And the other one? Yep.
Charlie is out, but Clydie is more apprehensive.
I think she's at the doorway. Oh. There you guys go.
Good lads, really good.
On closer inspection, Alison can see what a dreadful condition they're in.
One of them has very bad break. I guess it might be her very bad bent tail. He claims that he would take them outside, and I think that's why she's got the collar, but she's got a worse tail than this one, so.
The team's main focus is on Charlie and Clydie, but they do still have Rocky to deal with.
Rocky, the raccoon. I mean, we're not Raccoon World, so Rocky, we're gonna have to find a home elsewhere. We think we've got a place sorted in Kent, so I'm really pleased for him. He's really sweet.
So it looks like a happy ending for Rocky, but Charlie and Clydie are of more concern. Jeremy is keen to take off Clydie's filthy collar, but there's a surprise in store.
It's just a belt buckle.
Yeah, just undo the belt.
Pregnant.
I thought I was going to say she looks the same.
So let's get the collar off and put her back.
I know, lovely.
The collar has been put on very tightly.
That's tight. I've got it.
This will have made it easy for Clydie's previous owner to catch her, but will have been very uncomfortable for the pregnant marmoset.
You won't take me, I don't care.
That's going to feel so much better, darling. Yeah. There you go, lovely.
Feel it coming.
Okay. Yeah.
Very tight?
Been on for a while, isn't it? It's filthy.
Yep. I'll take that up with, oh, nice. Part of the evidence chain. Yeah, it was on the very tightest last one. You can see there the mark on it. So that is quite small around her neck. I don't know. I don't know what to say. The whole British pet trade is so appalling, and the animals are so neglected and mistreated, and even if these people liked their marmosets, the conditions were so bad. They've got rickets, she's pregnant, what were they gonna do with offspring? I don't know. It's just tragic, really, just tragic. So we'll have to see what happens, because really, we don't have room to keep them here at the moment, so we're gonna have to really put our heads together and work out where we can keep these guys.
Next time on Monkey Life. Concern for Charlie and Clydie when they undergo health checks.
His tail is clearly very painful. The female's upper jaw is broken. You couldn't get worse.
And Bueno Jr. gets his first lesson in how to be a woolly monkey.
Hi, Lavar.